Hey, how are you all doing? It's Ben from EQL Networks and Security. Today we're going to be looking at one of Dahua's 8 megapixel full color TIOC 1.0 IP camera. So the camera is sometimes referred to as TIOC, which stands for 3-in-1, because of its ability to see color 24/7. It also uses advanced AI chips to help identify objects in the environment and provide active deterrence features. So if you're new to this channel and like what you see here, be sure to hit that subscribe button and give us a thumbs up. If you have any other questions or comments, don't be afraid to hit us up in the comment sections below. So now let's get right into this. So the part number for this camera starts with a DH-IPC something. I can never remember any of these camera part numbers, so it's going to be listed here. So now let's take a closer look at this camera. So the camera is mostly made out of metal, has a built-in red and blue LED for deterring potential intruders. It also has a built-in white LED if there's no ambient light around, basically to help illuminate the environment. The camera also has built-in two-way speakers to communicate with someone in close proximity, or basically can scare off any potential intruders. Now, to give you guys an idea of how loud the alarm is when used on this camera, we used an app on our phone to measure the dB levels when standing about half a meter away from the camera. So this particular footage was taken of the 5 megapixel equivalent of this camera, which basically uses the same speaker. If you haven't seen that review on that model, here's what the results look like. So just to clarify, this isn't an accurate depiction of how loud the alarm on the camera is. It's basically just to give you guys a frame of reference. So let's look at some more specs of this camera. So it has a 2.8-inch CMOS sensor with a wide dynamic range of 120 decibels and an aperture of 1.4, and has the ability to produce color 24/7. So let's take the Dory specs. So for this camera, we've got detect at 87 meters, observe at 35 meters, recognize at 17.5 meters, and identify at 8.8 meters. So this camera also comes in a 2.8 and a 3.6mm version. So this camera is also part of the WizSense series. So for those of you who aren't familiar with what the WizSense series is, it's basically a series of cameras engineered with advanced AI chips and has deep algorithm learning to assist in identifying humans in vehicles. Did you get that? Anyway, so let's now get into this and see how this camera performs. So here we go. This is the image here. Like, it is crisp. Like, it is really sharp. Colors are great. Like, they're really vibrant. Maybe a little bit on the oversaturated side, but overall the picture quality is quite amazing. And we start with our walk test. And if we freeze it there, like you can see, everything is sharp. Like you can see, and you'll be able to make out identifications and stuff, facial features and stuff at that distance as well. So next up, I'll actually walk up to the camera, which is probably 3 to 4 meters away. And if we freeze it there, so once again, you'll be able to make out clearly identification features and lettering and numbers, but this image is really crisp. What we'll do is start to zoom in. So we'll zoom in on the left there and clearly identify and read the number plate letters there. You can't make out the smaller lettering, but you can see the number plates. And we'll just zoom in the middle here, which is about 20 meters away. Once again, you can see the lettering, the numbers there. So you'll be able to make out number plates at that distance. And then once again here on the right, yeah, you can see the letters and the numbers quite clearly what they are. Just zoom into the tree line. So still not super crisp and sharp, even though you're zooming in, but you know, there is a little bit of definition there of what's happening. Now this is a nighttime shot. So this shot here is got no lights are on. The only ambient light there you can see is the street light in the background in the top right, but everything else, it's pretty much pitch black. And this is showing 8 megapixel in full color. So there is ghosting here on our walk test, which you can see. And if we freeze it there, you're not even going to be able to tell who that person is or what that person looks like. But you will be able to make out colors and stuff as that person's walking along. we do the close-up test, if we freeze it there, you can see it's a little bit better. Like you can start to make a bit more facial features, but definitely still be able to see the colors. So what we'll do now is we'll try and zoom in on the left there. So over here, numbers aren't crisp or clear, but you can make out the number plate. And we'll try and zoom over here in the middle. Not going to be able to identify anything at that distance, which is probably about, I guess, about 20 meters away. And then we'll zoom in onto the right. This one here, you can already see it. Like you can see the numbers there. Once again, whether that's a Q or an O, you won't be able to tell. But so depending on the lettering and the numbers, you may get a clear recognition of what that actually is. And we'll just zoom in up here on the tree line. Won't be able to do anything with that. And there's no sharpness to it. It's just purely identifying what colors or something someone may be wearing. And that's probably about 30 meters away. So what we'll do now is we'll actually turn the white light on to give you an idea. Colors in that are pretty good. Like you're going to be able to tell what colors they are. As I do our walk test, freeze it there. Won't be able to identify anything, but you can see colors of the person, what they're wearing. As you can see, it's also ghosting in this shot as well. Maybe not as much as the first shot with no white light, but there is still ghosting appearing. Now in the next shot, I'll walk up to about 3 to 4 meters. And if we freeze it there, you will be able to, you'll be starting to see now facial features. You start reading the lettering on the jumpers. The white light is starting to wash things out, as you can see there. Now what we'll do is we'll zoom in on the left car, and the white light is basically reflecting off the number plate, making that number plate illegible. Is that how I'm saying it? Ineligible. You just can't see anything going on there. And then we'll zoom in on the right here. Once again, cannot see anything because of the lights being reflected. So you may be able to capture stuff if the camera's positioned differently and not head on. But in this particular shot, you're not going to see anything. And then what we'll do is we'll zoom into the number plate further down. You can kind of make out some numbers, but there's no way you're going to be able to clearly identify a number plate at that distance. And then tree line, very pixelated. You will only get, once again, just be able to identify colors and just know that someone's there. So what I've done now is we'll basically test and show you white light on, what the flashing and strobe light is. And you could also possibly hear the alarm going off. And then what I might do is I will switch the illumination off. And there you go. So there's no white light on, but that's what it looks like with the blue and red flashing light going if something's happening. So what are my thoughts on this camera? The camera performs relatively well during the day, producing moderate amount of clarity when needing to zoom in. However, during the night, if there's no ambient light source, moving people or vehicles can cause the image and quality to basically blur. You might be able to improve this with shutter speeds, but we test these cameras straight out of the box. When the white LED is used, certain features of vehicles or people are also washed out due to how bright that LED actually is. However, it does brighten up the colors and you can see a lot more. This seems like it can be controlled given that the correct settings are used and that the camera is appropriately positioned. At the time of testing, Dahua has also released a TIOC 2.0, which we'll test later on, which allows the white light only to come on when in a detected area. So make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on that review. On that note, that's it for this video. If you found this video informative, don't forget to give us a thumbs up, and while you're at it, hit us up in the comment sections for any questions you may have. At EQL, we're always here to help and support your business.